There he is.
Yeah.
Jeff Dunham. He's got a big Valentine's Day special coming up called I'm with Cupid. It premieres February 3rd.
So it's not like the T-shirt that says I'm with Stupid.
Exactly, Tom. Well done. Way to pick up on that.
With the arrow pointing at you. Hey, Jeff, good morning.
Good morning. I got to say, it's been a while since I've been on with you guys. You guys got a switcher and a whole deal. This is a high-tech thing you got going.
Damn right. We got to keep the gerbils running to keep the engine going, but other than that, we're fine, yeah.
But I'm
amazing.
I'm a fan of the, this is going to come out wrong.
Of course it is.
How do I say this? The excellent way that you use a traditional form of entertainment with your friends. How does that sound?
Let me reinterpret that. It's amazing that you use this old tired art to get anybody out to a show. That's what you just said.
No, to me, it's better. I love it that it's not AI or
CGI.
Yeah, that's exact. It's real. This is happening.
Tom, I appreciate that, Tom, very much. And it is. I do think that's one of the kind of interesting things about this art form is if somebody does it well, that it's a little bit like their own special effect. You've got this inanimate object that suddenly comes to life, and if the person that's doing it is good, it really comes to life, and that suspension of disbelief is gone, and yeah, you've got your own special effect going, and there's a thing that shouldn't be alive, actually alive, and telling jokes and ad-libbing. And see, that's what's interesting to me. I'll just do a side note here. So Disneyland used to have the Bear Time Jamboree, right, which was just like Chuck E. Cheese. They had the inanimate come to life, and it's robots, and it's the exact same show every time. This is how you can show to a comedian how an audience is different, because you bring in they would fill that theater up with a slice of Americana and foreign folks in there, and the bears would be singing and dancing and telling jokes, and people were laughing and clapping and having a great time. Get that audience off, bring another audience right in, same time, same temperature of the room, show is exactly the same, jokes don't, it's all on computer, but the show dies, and people are going, well, these guys aren't funny, this sucks. That shows you how different audience are.
Sure.
Different are, and it shows you how important it is. If a comedian knows what he or she is doing, you got to be able to read that crowd and go, well, this is not working, I better go this direction. So anyway, I went on a tangent, but that was
but I am a fan, and I still get that mind trick where I start listening to the dummy. I still get fooled, and you kind of forget, wait a minute, who's in charge here?
Jeff, have you ever had a fan come up afterwards and say, I cannot believe what Walter said tonight? What do you do when he says things like that?
See, that's the reality.
Right.
Well, see, my favorite thing, though, is the 20 years of doing comedy clubs, when I would come into like you guys and do the studio live, you don't know how many times that the sound guy, the engineer, before the thing would be setting up and then would set up a mic for me and put up, and even during the set or when it began, would panic and get another microphone and put it in front of Walter.
Yeah, amazing.
Wow. Now, does the new special from Jeff Dunham is entitled I'm with Cupid. Dare I ask? I think I know the answer. Who's playing Cupid?
Yeah, that's Walter, and he calls it elder abuse. He's dressed up, and he's pretty much naked with a diaper on and some wings and a halo, and yeah, it's not right, but when you first see it, it's laugh out loud funny. So yeah, he's not happy.
Jeff, I've got a question for you with regard to the early days of doing what you're doing. What was your first late night TV appearance, and who was with you on stage?
Wow, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that, Tom, and I love the answer to this. I was in college. I had, at Baylor University down in Waco, Texas, I had won a competition called American Collegiate Talent Showcase, whatever it was. And they got me on a show on HBO called Campus Comedy. Wow. This had to be 1983, 84, and it was hosted by Joe Piscopo. And we went up to Tufts University in Boston and shot this thing. And the one thing that I did pretty well, I didn't have any of the characters that I have now. It was just a typical little ventriloquist dummy that I had. But the one comment that I kept getting that really got me a lot of work was that I was completely clean compared to everybody else. And so on HBO, I was clean. No, that never happened back in those days.
Wow. Yeah, that was sort of the dawn of comedy on late night TV, and then with cable TV, it really started to change. And then they kind of cut up comedians,
and you could hear a lot. And you could hear a lot of stuff that you never heard before, and that people were taking advantage of that because the days of Lenny Bruce being arrested and taken away were completely gone. You could say just about anything. So
did your first character / dummy have a name?
Yeah, his name. That wasn't my first. For years, up until I got figured out Walter and Peanut, for years I was trying to find my everyman. So, you got Bugs Bunny, you got Kermit the Frog, you got Mickey Mouse. Those are the guys that are the center of the hub of the wheel of their universes. And I kept trying to find who is that guy? Who is that defining character? And so, yeah, I was using the typical little wooden ventriloquist dummy for years and years. And his name was Archie. It's just a typical little boy dummy. And I mean, if people can see over here, so back in the corner there's some typical ventriloquist dummies back there that are really old and scary. And that one in the middle is my first dummy one that I got when I was 8 years old.
Oh.
Little plastic Mortimer.
Yeah, I had a little Knucklehead Smith. Remember that one?
Absolutely. Yeah, Jerry Mahoney.
Yeah, Jerry Mahoney
from Paul Winchell.
Yeah, Paul Winchell. Yeah. Well, Paul Winchell, by the way, went from making dummies to working on artificial heart valves. Seriously.
Really?
Yeah, he was an inventor. He was pre-Jarvik artificial heart, and and then he went on to Paul Winchell went on to do all kinds of voice work. I mean, he was Tigger. Do you remember the scrubbing bubbles? What were they called? Anyway,
sure.
Commercial.
Yeah.
He did all kinds of voice that people don't realize.
Do you do any weird stuff that nobody knows about? I mean, in the world of voice work, I'm not.
No, you know what? I've been on the road doing these arenas since 07, 08, and I don't ever take any time off, and I don't have any time for other projects. And it's like people say, you want to do this and this. And I'm like, well, that's not as much fun as the road, and it doesn't pay as well as the road. And I've got these. We've been doing these tours for a long time, and I've got 12 crew guys, and we're like a giant family. And it's like a bus and truck, man. We just go gig to gig, and we average 5,000 to 12,000 people a show, and it's just how. Somebody asked Leno one time, when are you going to retire? And he goes, let me retire. Let me get this straight. I get on a plane, I fly to a gig, I get off the plane, I walk on stage, I talk for an hour and a half, people laugh their butts off, and they give me a standing ovation, I walk off, they hand me a big check, I get on the plane and I go home. What part of that do I need to retire from? And there's nothing better than making a bunch of people laugh. It's just like, it's cathartic. And you guys know that. When you have a good morning and the show was great, you don't know why, but you just know it was great. And even though you've done it forever, sometimes you walk out of there going, this is really not a bad gig. I love this.
Yeah.
So that's
1923.
We did that the first 10 minutes this morning. It's been downhill ever since. Let me ask you this, without getting too deep into your personal life. You say it's great to make a lot of people laugh. Do you find sometimes that you have to resist the phrase "throwing your voice" in intimate moments with people?
God. Here we go.
I was always wondering if, like at Senior Wences's funeral, if someone went up to the casket, picked it up, and went, "All right."
All right. Yeah. In intimate moments. Now, there's always there's an interpretation of that word. So, there's no dummies in the bedroom if you're asking that.
Yeah, I meant like if you're.
He's a clean comic.
No. I mean like if he's at dinner with his wife. And does she go, if you do that thing again when the waitress comes up, I'm getting up and leaving?
Yeah, there have been times I used to do that kind of crap in the classroom in high school and college and stuff. So I would say one time, this had nothing to do with ventriloquism, but the teacher thought it was. Do you remember those laughing boxes that were in a bag? And those things? Okay. So I made one radio controlled, and this was in the 80s. I was at Baylor. We had this giant lecture class, and the professor would stop. It was 2 hour, what were the hour and a half class, and halfway through he would stop and do the joke for the day. And it was always a horrible joke from this professor. So I made this little box, radio controlled, and I put it in the trash can at the front of the room. So, and here this class was, how many in a lecture class? What do you got, like 50 people, 60 people? Mm-hmm. And he stops for the joke for the day, and he tells a joke, and it's a lame joke. And then I hit the button, and the thing starts laughing. He stopped. He looked down. He looked up at me, up in this mass of students, and goes, "Mr. Dunham, are you doing that?" that was a huge compliment. But I sat there like, me? How would I? Yeah. So yeah.
Well, Jeff, the comedy special will be featured on Comedy Central. I'm with Cupid. And it starts airing in a couple
February
days.
February 3rd,
right?
yeah, 2 days.
Yeah, it starts airing Saturday night. And by the way, everybody's in it. Peanut, Walter, Jose Jalapeno on a stick, Bubba J. And there's another character that has kind of been banned from television. He's still in my live show, but he does not make an appearance in the special. However, there is another character that looks suspiciously like him, but he plays a Greek god, and his name is Archimedes.
Ah, okay, yes.
Well, and look for Jeff on tour out there and on television. Of course, Comedy Central coming up in a couple days. Thank you, Jeff. Always a pleasure.
Bye, Jeff.
Always great being with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, no.